A warm welcome to Tuesday's edition of Prime Time News, and thank you for joining us. I'm Michael Madimba. We begin with the reparation matters. The Zeraiwa Royal Traditional Authority has weighed in on the reparations issue and says the entire Namibian nation stands to benefit from projects that would emanate from a respectable genocide deal, and not only the Ovaherero and Nama people who were targeted for extermination by colonial Germany. Linia Dishena compiled this report.
This was the position of Maharero Royal Traditional Authority, the Raiwa Royal Traditional Authority, Kambadembe Royal Traditional Authority, Mureti Royal Traditional Authority, and the Nama Genocide 1904-1908 Development Trust during a joint media conference in the capital on Monday. Manessa the Raiwa said this deal is not only confined to the Nama and Herero people. For example, if a road is constructed between Okahanja and Omaruru, every Namibian is going to make use of the road. This was the first public pronouncement by traditional leaders from affected communities since the passing of staunch appointments of the German deal, and influential leaders, including ex-cabinet minister Kadenambo Kadenambo, Ovaherero Paramount Chief Advocate Vekwi Rikoro, and Ovambanderi Chief Kilias Ngubauva III. The group also indicated that the current drafted 18 billion Namibia dollars deal is not worthy of the lives of the victims of the genocide and their descendants and should be rejected in the National Assembly, which resumes on Tuesday. He noted that the traditional authorities are demanding nothing less than 8 trillion Namibia dollars as compensation for land, livestock displacement, loss of lives and culture, adding that the demand is a sharp decrease from the initial 18 trillion Namibia dollars the communities had put forth in 2001 for their losses. He also requested that the Namibian government set aside 28 May as Genocide Remembrance Day.
Shifting our attention to the August House. Some members of parliament from opposition parties say they have a plethora of questions that need answers from cabinet ministers. The MPs further expressed the desire to debate the various outstanding motions once parliament resumes. Erasmus Shalihakwe compiled this insert.
The fourth session of the 7th Parliament resumed today at around 14:30 after Parliament was compelled to go into break during the second half of its third session in June this year due to an increase of COVID-19 cases around the country, National Assembly Public Relations Officer David Nahonganja has announced. He said a number of bills are expected to be debated by the MPs and the public is urged to follow Parliament debates on its social media platforms. In an interview with Nampa on Monday, National Unity Democratic Organization Secretary General and MP Joseph Kawandenge said he tabled a couple of motions that were never debated and will push for the MPs to debate the topics because they are about issues affecting the livelihoods of Namibians. Rally for Democracy and Progress President Micah Vekotora said he would table a few motions, one being to interrogate what transpired at the National Housing Enterprise that led to the suspension of 4 managers and reappointment of the Chief Executive Officer, as this affects housing delivery in the country. Popular Democratic Movement MP Martin Johannes said the resumption of Parliament is long overdue. He said almost every PDM MP has questions for ministers that need to be answered immediately because they are affecting ordinary Namibians on a daily basis.
Moving on to labor matters. Otjozondjupa residents on Monday called on the National Wages Commission, tasked with gathering information on remuneration of workers in the country, to discuss both the minimum and maximum wages of all employees. Our Otjozondjupa-based journalist Mulisa Simiasa compiled this report.
The Wages Commission was appointed in February this year by the Minister of Labour, Industrial Relations and Employment Creation Utoni Noyoma. The commission is tasked to investigate and recommend to the ministry on how much an employee in the public and private sector at entry level of employment should earn. The commission is conducting meetings in all regions and on Monday was in Otjozondjupa region where the residents called on it to discuss both the minimum and maximum wages, saying this is with the idea to reduce the high inequality in workers' earnings. Otjozondjupa Regional Council Chairperson Marilyn Bakera on her part called on the commission to inform the government about security companies providing services to different ministries that are accused of failing to pay their workers for months. Bekera further expressed concern with charcoal production companies allegedly also mistreating workers on the farms. Branch coordinator of the Namibia Public Workers Union at Otjiwarongo, Mate Himbira, suggested a minimum wage of 7,000 Namibia dollars per month to an employee, saying this is due to the high cost of living in the country. He said for now, workers at entry level in government earn about 2,000 Namibia dollars. The commission is expected to compile a report on the discussions and submit it to the Ministry of Labour, Industrial Relations and Employment Creation for review and implementation.
Moving on to our southern neighbor. The graft trial of South Africa's former president Jacob Zuma, scheduled to resume this week, will be delayed by 10 days, prosecutors announced today, following the ex-president's placement on medical parole. AFP gives us more.
Zuma, 79, was granted medical parole on Sunday, 2 months into a 15-month prison sentence for a corruption probe into his 2009 to 2018 presidency. He was due to attend a virtual court hearing today in a dragging graft case relating to an arms purchase in 1999 when he was deputy president. But the National Prosecuting Authority today said the upcoming hearing would serve to postpone the trial to September 20th and 21st. The statement said the delay is meant to enable the state-appointed medical team of specialists to consider evidence in cooperation with Mr. Zuma's medical team. Details of Zuma's medical condition have been kept confidential. He was hospitalized from jail in early August and underwent surgery later that month. Critics accuse the ex-president and his legal team of using delaying tactics to escape justice. Selima Shimwefeleni reporting for Nampa News.
Stand by for your top roundup. In the business and economic segment, we begin in the south, where Mariental Town Council Mayor Adam Kuhlman was selected as chairperson of the Executive Committee for the Mayors and Chairpersons Forum for a period of 2 years.
Kuhlman was nominated at the end of the Mayors and Chairpersons Forum inaugural conference that took place in Mariental on Thursday and Friday. The conference was attended by mayors, chairpersons and chief executive officers from 17 local authorities in the Hardap and Karas region. In a media statement on Monday, Kuhlman said during the conference the local authorities resolved to collaborate by entering into cooperation agreements with the aim of sharing human capital resources in areas of governance and administration. He said the agreements also aim for the local authorities to cooperate in mobilizing and sharing resources for the construction of road infrastructure and bulk services in their respective towns and villages. Selima Shimwefeleni reporting for Nampa News.
Deputy Executive Director and the Minister of Fisheries and Marine Resources Uwerichiwa Kawaria says that contrary to criticism, no region was left out in the granting of fishing rights as it was done according to set criteria. Our coastal-based journalist Isabel Bento compiled this report.
Kawaria was responding to critics on the allocation of rights, as some regions feel they've gotten very little to nothing of the cake, saying it may have happened that certain regions such as the two Kavangos, Omaheke, Kunene among others, performed poorer than other regions or did not apply. He said the granting of fishing rights is captured as part of the process of the calling of the rights. The recent granting happened as a result of the criteria which was given at the time of the calling the rights in 2018. A decision was already made in 2018 that the applicant should represent different regions in one application, meaning applicants were encouraged to apply already as having different regional representation for more than one region, Kawaria noted. Kawaria stressed the issue of overcapitalization and overcapacity in the industry, noting that it is difficult to pinpoint which company deserves more and which one does not.
Join us after the break.
Getting GoTV was the best decision James has ever made. See, James has always watched football wherever he can. Sometimes it got awkward. It was never really comfortable. And finding a good place to watch became more and more difficult, not to mention costly. Traveling for his games took its toll on James until he discovered something big. Now that James has GoTV, he can finally enjoy the perks of Home Ground Advantage. Good for you, James. Get Home Ground Advantage with GoTV. With superstar players competing in the world's biggest leagues and cup competitions, you'll be spoiled for football choice. So get and stay connected to GoTV for the best football season yet. GoTV. Love it.
It's time for the weather forecast, followed by the sports update with my colleague Selima Chimwefeleni.
Good evening and welcome to Sport Planet. I'm Salima Shimwe-Feleni. We commence with tennis news. Novak Djokovic struggled but advanced within 3 matches of completing the first men's single calendar year Grand Slam in 52 years on Monday by outlasting American Jenson Brooksby at the US Open.
World number 1 Djokovic rallied past 99th ranked Brooksby 1-6, 6-3, 6-2, 6-2 to book a quarter-final encounter with Italian 6th seed Matteo Berrettini in a rematch of July's Wimbledon final. It is going to be exciting, Djokovic said. He loves the big stage. Big serve, big game overall. I know what to expect. Going to try to prepare a good game plan and hope for the best. The 34-year-old Serbian star would become the first man since Rod Laver in 1969 to sweep all 4 major titles in the same year by capturing his 4th career US Open crown. Djokovic also seeks a men's singles record 21st Slam trophy, which would boost him 1 ahead of big 3 rivals Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal, both absent with injuries.
In football news, Brazilian football great Pelé is recovering in hospital after undergoing surgery to remove a tumor from his colon. Xinhua brings us more.
The 80-year-old remains in intensive care but is expected to be moved to a general ward on Tuesday, according to medical staff at the Albert Einstein Hospital in Sao Paulo. Pelé wrote in a social media post saying, "Last Saturday I underwent surgery to remove a suspicious lesion in the right colon. The tumor was identified during the test I mentioned last week." The former footballer said, "Fortunately, I'm used to celebrating great victories alongside you. I'll face this match with a smile on my face, a lot of optimism and joy for living surrounded by the love of my family and friends." A statement issued by the hospital said the tumor tissue had been sent to pathologists for test. Pelé has really been seen in public since undergoing hip replacement surgery in 2012. The 3-time World Cup winner has since battled a series of prostate and kidney problems that have often required treatment in hospital.
Your sports roundup is up next.
Welcome wherever you are on Planet Football.
You can go anywhere in the world, but nobody feels football like we do.
And they dare to sing.
It's a rhythm.
1-2. 1-2.
Football.
La football.
Soccer. 1-2.
That moves us.
Salah to settle it. There's no feeling like that feeling.
It's so nice. It's so nice.
Nothing compares to DSTV's unbeatable football offering, so stay connected to watch the best football on the planet.
And with that, we've come to the end of tonight's bulletin. We thank you for tuning in. If you're new to this channel, please subscribe, like, share, and click on the notifications bell to stay up to date with the latest happenings locally and globally. Do add your comments as well in the comment section. From myself, Salima Shimwe-Feleni, and the entire production crew, it's good night.